Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Love triangles almost always do not end well, and today's true crime story is no exception. It looks at the life of a very beautiful and promising professional cyclist in the United States of America who was at the peak of her profession, winning awards and setting trends, and how she unfortunately lost her life as a result of being caught up in a love triangle. This is an ongoing case, and we are bringing you updates as has been captured so far, awaiting the sentencing of the lady at the center of the crime. This is the true crime story of Moriah Wilson and how come she lost her life, unfortunately, due to the fact that she got caught up in a love triangle with a very insecure and bitter woman. If you're ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. Before we get into today's story, kindly support our campaign against femicide by just going to the comment section and type in "Please stop the femicide" or hashtag "Say no to femicide" and help us drive this campaign. We'll be very grateful if you can share this video with your friends as well in any circle of your life to help drive this campaign. Additionally, our analytics have shown us that most of you are watching our videos but you are not subscribed to our channel, and this is not helping us grow. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for returning, and if you are watching and you haven't subscribed, kindly hit the subscription button and we will be very grateful to you for that. Now to the substantive story at hand. Moriah Wilson, a very beautiful soul, lost to the rage of a jealous woman because of a love triangle. Now, who was Moriah Wilson? Anna was born on the 18th of May 1996 in Littleton, New Hampshire, to Eric and Karen Wilson and the sister of Matthew Wilson. Now, she grew up in Kirby, Vermont, and graduated from Beck Mountain Academy in 2014 and from Diamond College in 2019 with a BA in engineering. So you can see that this lady was top-notch. She had an attitude of excellence about her. She enjoyed cooking, writing, and traveling, and especially loved to travel to Italy. Now, she was raised in a family of athletes and developed a passion for cycling as a young girl. She was a nationally ranked junior skier but had recently become a gravel cyclist before deciding to ultimately pursue her career as a professional cyclist full-time. So, this is a brief background about Moriah Wilson. Now, unfortunately, on the 11th of May 2022, so this was just 7 days before her birthday, Wilson was found deceased with multiple gunshot wounds shortly before 10 p.m. at a friend's residence in Austin, Texas, where Wilson had been staying to compete in a big race in Hico. Now, hours before her death, it was established per investigation that she had gone out with Strickland for a swim at Deep Eddy Pool and afterward also ate dinner together. Now, I'm sure that you are wondering who this Strickland is. His full name is Colin Strickland, and he was also, or let me say he is, a pro cyclist. So it's more like he's a colleague of hers in the cycling industry. Now, when they came back, Strickland denied to investigators ever going inside Wilson's friend's house after dropping Wilson off, and as such, he ended up being ruled out as a prime suspect following the police investigation. An autopsy confirmed that Anna Wilson's death was actually a homicide, and the 2 gunshot wounds located to the back of the head and 1 to her chest just made it obvious. So at this point, she has gone on a date with this guy, and just a few moments afterwards, she's found deceased. Obviously, someone had taken her life, and this guy has been ruled out as a suspect. So then the question was lingering, who was it then? Because ideally, the first suspect is always the partner, in this case, the boyfriend, as it would later turn out to be. But if it's not him, then the police had to also try and find out who the next possible suspect was, if any. And so they did. So investigations were still ongoing, and police named a person called Armstrong as a person of interest after they chanced upon a video surveillance footage. Now, Armstrong is somebody who would end up being a key person of interest in this case. Her full name was Kaitlin Marie Armstrong, and she was a yoga teacher. But before I get into how come they figured that Armstrong is a key suspect, let's go and find out a little bit more about who Kaitlin Armstrong was. Kaitlin Armstrong was also born on 21st of November 1987. So Kaitlin was older than Wilson, and Kaitlin grew up in Livonia, Michigan. She graduated from Stevenson High School in 2005 and then attended Schoolcraft College and Eastern Michigan University. She has been described as a yoga teacher and licensed realtor. Now, it was established that Armstrong was in a relationship with professional cyclist Colin Strickland, and that they had briefly separated in the fall of 2021, by which point Strickland had met Wilson and began a brief romantic relationship with her. But then it was further established again that Armstrong and Strickland would later reconcile and resume their relationship. So then it begged the question that after the reconciliation, what then became of Wilson? Because per how I'm seeing it, it meant that after they reconciled, the whole thing became a love triangle, where the original fiancée or the original girlfriend who had left had now become a side chick to the one who came in after she left. I hope I'm not confusing you though. Now, back to the surveillance footage that put the police on the heels of Armstrong. What made it obvious that Armstrong was a key person of interest was the fact that in the surveillance video, they saw her black Jeep Grand Cherokee arriving at the Austin residence moments before Wilson was found deceased. So, based on this, Armstrong was taken into custody over an outstanding misdemeanor warrant for theft. And then Armstrong made no statement to the police when confronted about the video evidence of a vehicle, but then investigators observed she turned her head and rolled her eyes in an angry manner when she was questioned about how Wilson was with Strickland. So it gave a clue to investigators that there is something there. There could be some bad blood, which could show that she has motive. But Armstrong was released on a technicality stemming from discrepancies between her date of birth in the police department's database and the one in the warrant. Police further examined Wilson's phones and concluded that she was romantically tied to Colin Strickland while he was still dating Armstrong. Exactly. So this confirms the love triangle I was talking about. Strickland originally denied knowing the victim when first interviewed, but eventually he admitted to the relationship and to keeping communication with Wilson hidden from Armstrong, going so far as to delete text messages from Wilson on his phone while saving her phone number under a pseudonym. Now, I think that this is where the problems started from. Because if you look at how this story is evolving, Wilson, to me, she's innocent in all this. She's not stealing anybody's boyfriend, because at the time that she started having this romantic relationship with Strickland, Strickland was actually single. Armstrong was not in the game. She was not in the scene. She had no romantic relationship with Strickland, so Wilson didn't steal anybody's boyfriend. But I think the whole problem started when Strickland got back together with Armstrong at the back of Wilson, and he started playing the two women. I think this is where the whole problem started from, per the reports out there. This is what I can infer. And it got worse because at a point, Armstrong reportedly became aware of the relationship and expressed a strong desire to take the life of Wilson, telling an anonymous tipster that she had either recently purchased a firearm or intended to do so. Now, Strickland revealed he had bought 2 handguns for Armstrong and himself. Through a search warrant, police recovered 2 firearms from the house of Strickland shared with Armstrong and a spent shell casing from one of the weapons, that is an SIG Sauer P365 handgun belonging to Armstrong, yielded a significant match with one found at the crime scene. The search warrant also revealed that Armstrong had visited a shooting range with her sister, Christine Armstrong, allegedly to learn how to use a firearm. On May 17th, an arrest warrant was issued for the arrest of Kaitlin Armstrong based on a possible charge of a first-degree murder. Now, you see what I was saying? She got bitter and she felt that the only way to solve this problem was to take out Wilson. But I don't support violence in any way. And I don't think that Wilson is the one to blame in any way. Yes, she loves Strickland, so it's obviously easier for her to think in her criminal mindset that if she cancels out Wilson, she can ride off into the sunset with Strickland and live happily ever after. But life doesn't work that way. You don't just get up, get a gun, and unalive people that you don't like or agree with. There are ways to go about things. At the very least, I think that she should have confronted Strickland and she should have preserved her dignity such that if Strickland was not ready to choose one, she would walk away if she is not the one to be chosen. But somebody else would tell me it's easier said than done, especially when you are sitting on the fence like me and not the one caught up in the love triangle. Well, I will not argue because even if I try to, some people still wouldn't agree with me. Now, when the arrest warrant was issued, Armstrong tried to escape. She actually went on the run for a total of 43 days. And at this time, she changed her looks. She is reported she actually tried getting a plastic surgery done because she changed her looks entirely. She cut her hair, she changed her style of making up, style of dressing, everything. And she actually escaped from the country to Costa Rica using a passport that did not belong to her but belonged to someone allegedly close to her who is alleged to have borne a very strong resemblance to her. And then at Costa Rica, she enrolled in a yoga institution and got a job to start teaching people yoga. She was actually moving on with her life after allegedly ending that of someone else. You get it? And if you saw the intro video, that was Wilson, Moriah Wilson. Very beautiful soul. And out of just being in love, she signed her death warrant because there was a jealous woman who was being played by the same guy who was playing the innocent Moriah Wilson. I don't think this is fair at all, to Moriah especially, and I think Strickland should be very ashamed of himself because he brought this upon her. And I'm sure that if she knew it was going to end like this, maybe she would have just moved on. But after 43 days of being at large, Armstrong was apprehended by the US Marshals in a hostel in Santa Teresa at Costa Rica on the 29th of June 2022. Now, in a press conference about Armstrong's capture, The US Marshals indicated that she had fled to Costa Rica using a passport that did not belong to her, but the person bore a strong resemblance to her and is somebody close to her. Now, fast forward, Armstrong was arraigned on July 21st, 2022, where she pled not guilty to the murder charge. As of May 2023, she is being held on a $3.5 million bond in Travis County Jail. The case is scheduled to go to trial on October 30th, 2023, having been rescheduled at least twice. Armstrong had lost her bid to suppress evidence of her custodial interrogation with the Austin Police Department, which she argued was illegally obtained because she was not apprised of her Miranda warning. Now, a federal charge of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution against her was provisionally dismissed as well. Legal experts said such a motion was routine since she had a constitutional right to a speedy trial. All in all, this case, like I said, is still evolving, and with the trial date set for October 2023, specifically the 30th, I'm keeping my fingers crossed because, in the eyes of the law, everybody, even in situations like this, is still innocent until proven guilty. And when it comes to being proven guilty, the prosecution has to prove beyond reasonable doubt. So, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But this is how far the case has traveled. And my heart goes out to the family and loved ones of Anna Moriah Wilson. And I hope she rests in peace. If you can, please just go to the comment section and type R.I.P. Anna, R.I.P. Wilson, R.I.P. Moriah, and send some love to her family and loved ones. But for Strickland, honestly, as a man, I think that he should be ashamed of himself. He played the two men. I wouldn't even say he played them against each other because there is no record indicating Anna Moriah Wilson had any sort of anger against Armstrong. It was a one-way thing where Armstrong was the one gunning for her head, literally. And I think that Strickland played a very key role in this. Although he didn't tell her to go and do this, by playing out her emotions in that scenario, I think it triggered her to take these actions, although that is not an excuse for Armstrong. So I'll be following this case as and when the updates are out. Trust you me, I'm going to bring them out. But like I said, always keep an eye out, stay safe out there, and subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. What do you think about this whole case? Let me know what your views are. Do you think that Strickland should have handled things better? Or do you think that Armstrong is just driven by jealousy and has nothing to do with what Strickland did as the playing boyfriend? So we come your way next time. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you.